Esme. Okay, so can everyone in your name rename yourself if possible and just say which organization you're in, that you're from? Al, Esme. Okay, so can everyone in your name rename yourself if possible and hey Cal, give us a roar from Kent.
Hi, how are you?
Is that the best you can do?
Yeah, that's all I got.
No, we want we come from roar. And then we got E from Recovery Connections in Middlesbrough.
Hi.
Hi, love. And then you got Esme from the Netherlands. And Paula from Mauni GGZ, where when you get certified, you will get your certificates from. And chat amongst yourselves. Paula, I'm just going to make you the co-host very quickly so you can let people in.
Sure.
I've got to go and pee. I've just jumped from one call to another. Sorry about that. It's Charlie's fault.
It's always my fault.
Always your fault, yeah.
Thanks for having us here today in your class. How are you liking it so far? Are you usually here in this class, Charlie, Eve, Cal?
Yes, I have. I've been on this now for about 11 weeks. This is my 11th week.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's fabulous. It's what I've been looking for the last couple of years. So I'm really enjoying it. What about yourself?
Lovely. So yeah, today we will just join to see how it goes, and from time to time, would love to jump in to refresh some learnings and to connect. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I'll be able to stay, unfortunately, only 40 minutes. I'll need to reconnect to my home duties with my kids, and I need to take for some after school activities. So my working day is kind of cut into the bits and pieces, but I love it like that as well. So.
And you're based in the Netherlands?
I'm based in Netherlands, indeed. Yeah. Just as Esme. And Eve, you are in Middlesbrough?
Yes, I'm in Hartlepool.
Yeah, well, Stockton.
Oh, sorry.
Did you say Eve? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think there's a delay.
Yeah,
I think Charlie and you at the same time.
This is my first time on here, so I'm not really sure what it's about, but yeah.
Oh, great. Nice.
We're also not sure what it's about, Eve. You just make it up. So, Cal, this is also your first time here, yeah? Okay. So let's start. We always start with a check-in, yeah? And everyone here has done the 3-day intensive at some time. And the idea is that this is a systemic wellness practitioner where you take your recovery coaching skills and apply them to your role within your organization. That's the idea. And to get certified, to get a Maoni certificate, you need to attend 10 of these classes, which makes up 20 hours. Yeah. So you'll be then certified as a recovery coach and a systemic wellness practitioner. Okay. However, there's no format to this. We just build the container and then see what happens. Is that Claire and Vicky from Recovery Connections? I'm going to assume that's a yes. Okay. All right. So we'll start with a check-in. And yeah, so I'm David. I'm checking in. I've just done 2 meetings back to back. So this is my last meeting of the day, but it's going to have been a 4-hour stretch. So I normally have TikTok eyes from looking at TikTok all the time and going like that. Now I've got Zoom eyes. So, but I check in excited and I'm a bit manic. I've got a lot of kokorozashi flowing through my system. I'm going to tag Charlie.
I check in quite excited from my call previous, and I'm still quite excited and looking forward to the container. And I tag Claire and Vicky.
They're still looking for the unmute button. Okay, Eve, do you want to go next while Claire and Vicky are typing and trying to work out?
Yeah. I'm Eve. I'm checking in. I'm feeling good. A little bit nervous about being on here, but yeah, I'm good. Esme.
Thank you. I'm checking in, happy to be here, that I can join just to get a little bit more grounded and calm down. So excited to the next 2 hours, and I'm taking call.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm interested. Like, I'm intrigued to see what, because last couple of weeks I've had other stuff going on, so I haven't been able to log on yet. So yeah, intrigued, interested. Paula?
You
Thanks.
tagging, Carol?
I think he said Paula.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Thanks, Cal. No, I'm checking in with Joy and happy to be part of the group, and especially excited to see that for some it's the first time, and grateful. Thank you for having me here for at least this first half an hour, 40 minutes. David, I'll need to jump off after that.
That's fine. Okay. So we've created the container. We've checked in. The contract was spoken about where we have to do 10 weeks of 2 hours a week to get certified. Charlie has just completed that, but he's choosing to stick around. Yeah, which is fantastic. We love that. So, yeah. Where should we take today's container?
Could I pick it up from where we left off from the last container, where we were talking about giving men a voice, because it seems, especially what I've came across in my lived experience, is that men don't seem to talk about recovery as much as what women do. They don't seem to be. We find it harder to speak about our emotions and feelings and stuff than what females women do. And I wonder if we could bring that to the container.
You have bought it. It is here. Great. Okay. So let's open it up. Gender. The agenda is gender. Okay, well, this is a good time for all the men to keep quiet.
I found in my recovery that I want to recover out loud.
Okay.
And I feel for the first time that my vulnerability has been more of a power, whereas where I've never really wanted to show vulnerability. I've always wanted it to be perceived as like this alpha macho male. And the more that I've got sober and the more that I've peeled back the layers of that, the more that I've been able to show my vulnerability. But I don't see a lot of men doing this, actually. I see a lot of women who can talk about being vulnerable and their emotions and that loads more than what men can. And yeah, and that's just basically what I wanted to bring in. I don't know, man, if anyone agrees with me, man, or disagrees with me.
So I agree with you, Charlie. And there are two things that I'd like to bring some awareness to, is around recovery for men and recovery for women is often different. So, for example, for men that kind of fuck their lives up on drink and drugs seem to get a lot more lenience, as opposed to kind of women. There's a societal projection that kind of goes, mothers shouldn't behave like that, and you shouldn't be doing that as a woman. So that's one diversity issue that I think is still alive and well, unfortunately. And the other thing is that when men talk about their feelings and get vulnerable in certain areas, even though the world says, yeah, we want to see the authentic man and they must bring their heart to the table, when that does happen, there's a lot of like, well, we kind of said it, but we don't actually want it. Like, David, can you calm down a bit, please? You're a bit too much here now. That's been my personal kind of experience with it. And when you say recovering out loud, that's kind of going against 12-step philosophy of anonymity. And the way 12-step recovery worked, it was in secrecy because of the time, the way that the world was at that time. And 100 years later, I'm not sure we're much further down the road. So, for example, if a mother puts her hand up and says, listen here, I'm smoking dope or something, and I'm using drugs, social services might come in and get involved and take the kids away. So there are all sorts of complex issues that we as coaches need to kind of be aware of within the organizations we work in.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said about the social services. I was talking with one of our other volunteers about that. It's like, a mother's using crack and heroin. She might want to access help, but she has to make the decision that her kids are going to have to go away for a little bit before she goes to ask for help. And even like not having any kids, it's a big decision to go and ask for that help. So you throw that in the mix, and you can see why it's maybe not as common. I think for me, my experience as a man was very much like, I can do it myself. Like, I'll be all right. I'll sort this out. Like, even I was in hospital for a couple of weeks and I come out and I didn't tell anyone. I was like, I can sort this out myself. Like, it'll be all right. And it wasn't. Eventually I had to go and ask for help, and it's quite, I don't know, I think for me, starting to ask for help's changed me as a person. I'm more quick to look for who can help me rather than trying to sort stuff out just by myself now. And it's eye-opening when you ask for help. In my experience, then people help you.
Claire and Vicky, is your computer mic still broken? Yeah, it's still broken. We can see you're unmuted and we can't hear you. So we'll have to do sign language. You're talking shit. Okay. Eve, is your microphone working?
Yeah, I'm working.
Okay. Cool. You got any thoughts on the topic?
I was on a call with my manager when Charlie started speaking, so I've not really got the gist of what he was saying. But
Okay. So Charlie, you want to catch Eve up?
thank you.
Yeah, Eve, and what I was saying, man, is I was talking about gender and how I am like to recover out my loud, and how I was saying like men sometimes find it harder to show their vulnerability than what when women do. So that was kind of the kind of gist of it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's kind of more frowned upon almost for men to get vulnerable, and yeah, David, like you said, it's people say, oh, men should speak up and men should talk about the way they feel, but then when they do, it's still not. It's almost like it's not still not okay, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Can I ask, like, what it's like in your areas? Because once I sort of come into all this sort of stuff, like asking for help, and I realised there's actually spotted around Kent where we are. There's quite a few like men's talk groups sort of things, and I wasn't aware of them at all beforehand. But I thought it was interesting that for us down here, the help like the groups are there. It's just maybe awareness of them.
Okay. Right. So Cal, that's wonderful external recovery capital that you as a coach can be aware of if you were to interact with a man that could really benefit from male company, intimate. So in your head, you know where those resources are, and you could point them to those directions. So that's great. Yeah. Charlie, what sort of resources are there up in your area? So Charlie's in Hartlepool, yeah?
Yeah, even though I've got a broad Glaswegian accent, I'm in Hartlepool, and I find there's quite a lot of services for quite a small town in Hartlepool. There's like Smart Recovery, the STAR project, there's Community Links, there's the fellowships of NAA and CA. So there's quite a lot of recovery capital in Hartlepool. But I've came from AA, where I'm not supposed to be talking outside of AA, and I've had loads of kickback actually, especially from AA because the spiritual and principle of anonymity. But I do believe that AA, man, is only like a small part of recovery, even though my people in AA might not think that. I do. And that's how I've kind of, even though I'm in AA, I still want to know the bigger circle. And I think Hartlepool plays a massive part in that, man. Actually, for such a small area, there's quite a lot of capital in Hartlepool. And at the moment, I'm just kind of venturing into it. To see what's out there, but I'm really pleased. I'm really happy. What's in Hartlepool actually, especially for men.
So, Isma, why don't you tell us about? I mean, talking about recovering out loud. Yeah, Esme's had a movie made about her journey with Oxy, and it's called Oxy Junkie, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
been screened on the silver screen. So how's that been for you, Esme, in terms of recovering out loud and
The
getting your
document
experience out there.
about the docu, or
Just in general, whatever comes up for you.
nothing, David. No, so I like with the documentary, it is still a roller coaster. So it goes with ups and downs with me for my own recovery. So as you know, I was very angry at my own country when I went to South Africa and came back because there was no help for me here. Also, the awareness around Oxy, is not very good. So that's why I commit to a documentary. But of course, we had a lot of filming and days and showing up also for interviews. And sometimes that were not the nice days because I was triggered in my own recovery. And then talking about the Oxy, some days it was very difficult, and still with the broadcast next week, everyone is happy and I'm as well. But for now, it's triggering already, giving me nightmares because I'm exposed again. And I saw the last 2.5 years when something comes out like, and you know, David, I live in a small village, so everyone knows me, and then they start talking, and at some days it's like I'm not able to. And then now I'm aware that I just have to lock myself up for my own safety. So yeah, that is a journey, and one day at a time. But of course, it's great that the docu is there and to bring the awareness and try to help the next person, because that's my mission in my own recovery.
So if I can just give some context around Esme's journey. Esme had an accident, where she went into hospital and was given pain medication, which was an opiate, which she became dependent on. So her drugs were given to her by the state, which is a very different stigma to somebody who's gone and bought street drugs. So a mother that's kind of goes off and buys crack and heroin or something is going to be looked at very different as a mother who's been prescribed drugs from the doctor. Does that it's making sense here? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that Esme's recovery journey has been very different in the sense that the projection is, Esme, you're not a drug addict. Yeah, you're somebody that's you're a normal person, whatever that means.
Yeah, but that's what I was aware of when I came back from South Africa, that I knew that my problem was so big and that I need to work my recovery very hard. And my family and environment thought, you took a pill, now you stopped, and now we move on. But that was not the case. So I took like around a year to lock myself up and work my own recovery and make them aware of like my problem. And that's why I call myself a junkie. And I think Oxy Junkie is my own title for my documentary, to bring also that awareness that it is like a fucked up addiction, and not like they stop the pill. So, yay. And that's the difference.
And another thing, if I just may, sorry to jump in like this, but it's what the difference with opiates, with Oxy particularly, but also other painkillers as well, is that you really need to continuously fight for your recovery, not just for yourself, but from the system, right? I mean, there is in every instance where there is a medical attention needed, and then therefore painkiller, perhaps you would be without a doubt offered again the same drug. So you need to.
Well, also over the last past months, I visited GP and doctors a few times, and to keep myself safe, I take a friend with me because I'm not able then to. I feel that I'm like in a thin line to just refuse pain medication because it's so normal for them to give me. So like to keep myself safe, I take a friend with me so she can talk for me and like refuse for me the pills and medication and try to explain over and over again that it took me a hard way to get rid of it. But yeah, it's also fighting the system.
So that's another way a recovery coach can go with someone and advocate for them for how they choose their recovery to be. Yeah. So Esme is very comfortable with calling herself an oxy junkie. She has every right to do that. Yeah. Nobody else in society has that right to call her that, but Esme does. And to have someone, to take someone to advocate for her, to speak up for her, and to support her in that as well. And I think that's also something that we need to be aware of if we want to recover out loud, like Charlie was saying. So I'm quite happy to call myself an addict, yeah, or a junkie, because I fit that profile. But if somebody else calls me that, it's like, fuck you. Who do you think you are to tell me that, you know? And that's another diversity issue and stigma. So we started off this conversation with the gender differences, like men are kind of stigmatized to kind of share their vulnerability, and it's kind of assumed that it's okay for women to share their vulnerability. Yeah. And now we've kind of moved down the road a bit to well, we're kind of carrying on with stigma.
Can I add to that, David?
Please add to it. Yeah, I don't want to hold this container by myself. I get anxious.
No, because what comes to me is that indeed, like that's one angle where stigma is penetrating this field, this conversation, and the recovery in general, where men are not allowed to be vulnerable in the society. And another angle, and where stigma is present, is the mothers are not allowed to be addicted, right? I mean, it's for that would come for me. I'm in recovery myself, and I'm a mother, and I still have very thick notch when I have to share about that, and when I'm very aware how people perceive that, normal people or society. How can you do that to your children, right? That kind of a thick question. And yeah, so I think that's a relevant angle of stigma as well. Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about when I was texting you last night, Paula, that when I was celebrating 6 months oxy-free in Amsterdam, that the police was in front of the door because my child did something, and that they asked, "Where's your mother?" And he said, "She's celebrating that she's 6 months clean." And the next morning at 8, ding dong, the police came, and they just told me, like, yeah, we are now looking if your child is grow up in a safe environment. Like, it's hard as a mother.
So that's another great example. So there you've kicked the substance, you're 6 months in recovery, your son is proud, my mum's in recovery, she's not using. Next minute the old Bill rock up at the door and go, "Oi, what's going on here?" Yeah, sorry, old Bill is slang for the police, Paula and Esme. Sorry, they're
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating we can't hear from Claire and Vicky. Cal, where should we take this conversation?
I don't know, put me on the spot a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see Paula and Esme speak about their experience as like mothers. I think I remember a long time ago, last summer, hearing someone sharing about their experience as a mother, and like they couldn't stop for their kids, and that was the first time I ever heard anyone say that. And yeah, it was a bit surprising at first, but as you learn more about it, you know, as I've gone through my own recovery, then it's like it's obvious. It makes complete sense. So I just think there's a lack of understanding, isn't there, about the addiction and what it does to your mind. Yeah. But you are right. If you hear a father say that, then it wouldn't be as surprising, and that's not right.
Okay. And on the emotional stuff around being a bloke.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a sort of, I don't know, it's not something before the last, year or so. Talking about your feelings, it's just not something that I was really that interested in. Like, yeah, if people ask me how I was feeling, I get all scrunched up. I don't want to talk about that before. Yeah, it didn't come naturally. Still, even now, to be fair, like I've noticed myself not asking for help when I should be, but I'm learning to notice that a bit earlier rather than keep plugging away for however long. The earlier I can notice, the better, and reach out, ask for help. It's it's learning that's useful, I think.
Okay. And tell us a bit about your role in your organization. What makes your role a success?
Yeah, so I come in. I think I did a day program last year, and this thing, Reach Out and Recover, Celero, based in Kent, was starting up. And I knew when I finished, I needed to be involved with something, so I just applied. And it was sort of like work out where your role is. So I've ended up. I do the social media, I do the website, and then I just dip my toe in wherever else I can. Like I'm not committed to being somewhere every single week for we do meet and greet sessions. So we have a little table, and we invite people to come in, and but I go in whenever I can to one of them. Just moved, so there's one actually close to my house now, which is useful. Because all our volunteers live one side of Kent, and I was living the other side of Kent. But I've just moved on Monday, so hopefully I'll get to a few more of them, and then we just do. We've got a little football thing going on Fridays, which is going really well. I'm involved with that. I think that's a good summary of what I'm up to.
And what sort of messaging do you send out on social media?
What sort of messaging we send out? We when I first started doing it, it was a little bit boring. It was just like we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. So trying to write some more articles about either like say it was Recovery Month a couple of months or last month. I did a little something about that, or I wrote the other day about Stoptober. We've just started a push. We're trying to get Smart Recovery face to face in Kent. So that's gone live yesterday, the sort of fundraiser, and I'll be doing some bits and bobs around that, why it's important to have it and what it is, because I think for me personally, I know when I come into recovery, I'd heard of fellowships, or I would have said I've heard of AA, but I'd never heard of Smart Recovery. So just trying to raise some awareness around that at the moment.
Okay. All right. Charlie, you want to tell us about your experience with social media and that?
Yeah, social media. I've got some experience with social media. We've got about 100,000 followers on Facebook. We've just started on YouTube. We started a podcast on YouTube. We're on the second series of something that's called Unfiltered Lives, the other side. And basically that was to give folk who've been through recovery a chance to tell me their story, because whenever I ever used to go into YouTube, it was always famous people or people that with money. So it was basically to just show the likes of me and you that we can get through and there's a way out. And I share my story, my lived experience, and I've been sharing that for nearly 2 years. I started off with my phone on a radiator, and I got so much out of just talking to my little phone, because I'd never really spoken to anything or anybody, and I ended up talking to my phone on my first month, and I put it out in the world, and I got a good response, and I've been doing it ever since. So I find that social media is absolutely massive, and I think that if you use social media for the right wing guide as in a positive and role model, then it can be used really, really well and successfully if used right.
So as a bloke that's kind of shared his heart on social media, yeah, that just kind of
Yeah.
sat there one day speaking to his phone on the radiator, what sort of hurdles did you personally have to overcome?
Well, the main hurdles were the hurdles internally, whether I really wanted to tell the world that I was an alcoholic and a junkie, because that's basically what I was, and and so because all my friends are all big drinkers, that they're all alpha males, and they're business owners, and all this stuff, and they all knew that there was something quite wrong with me, and that I was always a person who was up for 4 or 5 days. I was always the person who was causing all sorts of chaos. But and I was always the person who wore like all different masks for all different occasions, but never really knew who I was. And so the biggest hurdle was to show that my first layer of vulnerability was to take off that mask that I had projected to the world for what 40, I think it was 46 years, and that was massive internal battle, because I knew, like, if I took this. I thought if I took this first mask off, what are people going to think of me? Are they going to think? Are they going to not like me? Because I've been a terrible people pleaser my whole life, and I still am a bit of a people pleaser. And it took me a couple of weeks actually to put my first video on, and then it was a relief it was a relief to show the world who I actually was, instead of trying to project who I thought I was, because I'd been running my whole life and I didn't know that I had been running, and to show that first layer of the onion, it was a relief. And so I found that I only have one friend left. I have one real friend left out in the world, and he's been astronomically supportive of me. Most of my other like friends have all my left now, and that's fine, because I've immersed myself in recovery, and I've found that people in recovery don't want anything from me. They just I want friendship, and they just want you to get well. But yeah, so I've kept one good friend, and his friendship means so much to me. Yeah, I still find that quite funny, actually.
All right. So on the one hand, you started the topic by talking about men and vulnerability, and the other side of it is you've gone out and fucking put your heart out there in front of 100,000 people, and you've lost all your mates, but you've got one good mate. What's the I mean, I think what I'm wanting to do is just acknowledge your courage for doing that, for putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I still feel really apprehensive every time I put my video out. But yeah, that has got a wee bit easier. But I still, I am still a people pleaser, and I deal with that. And I do want to be liked. I've still got that internal thing of still wanting to be liked, and I still worry about that. But I suppose what I'm trying to is awareness, is that by me projecting my voice to I was trying to speak to my friends, actually. That's ultimately what I was trying to do. I was trying to say, listen, that person there that you thought I was is not me. I really want to show you the real me. This is the real me. That's what I was trying to do, actually. And I think I've successfully done that. And yeah, I've only kept the one friend, but that showed me like how much his friendship meant to me. So I found it so rewarding, and I'm still glad that I do it, actually, because I know in my friendships and all my family, and that no men really speak out when still, and so it's to raise awareness that us alpha men, like, we can take this mask off, and we are all vulnerable as each other if we can show each other the real us, or the kind of real authentic us. I hope that makes sense, what I was saying there.
See you later, Paula.
Do you want to
See you
pick
later,
out,
Paula.
Paula?
Yeah, Charlie, I just wanted to say, like, I admire that, what you've just said and what you've done there, because I can really relate to the apprehension about sharing your story. We had one of our volunteers, she did a write-up of her story, and yeah, we shared it on social media, and, you know, people were really interested, asking about it and stuff. And then, you know, I thought I could see, oh, that's gone down well. Maybe we should find another volunteer who wants to share their story. And yeah, no one was that quick to come forward and volunteer. And so I was thinking about, you know, do I want to share my own story? And I can relate to that. Oh, like, it would be nice for it to be out there and, like, the truth. But then there's all these questions in your head, like, what if my family who don't know read it? And what if a lot of my friends do know, but the ones who don't know, what if they read it? And what if they ask about this? And what about if I want to get a job in the future that's not in recovery?
Yeah.
Questions. And yeah, so I admire that you've gone ahead and done that, and I'm pleased that you've said it was so rewarding for you when you did do it.
And thanks, Cal.
So part of your role in your organizations is to speak up. So how do you keep yourself safe in that? Where's the line?
Are we talking about my boundaries here, David?
No, yeah. Well, I'm just talking about personal safety. Yep. So when I share my story, I put myself on the line, and I can be judged. Yep. And well, I know I'm judged. People project all sorts of stuff on me. So I've got to be kind of careful where I share, when I share, how I share, to look after me. Yeah, and this part of the training is how can you look after how can you apply the tools so you can show up in your organization and stay well and look after yourself as well. Does that make sense? Because lots of organizations want to kind of, there's pressure, go out there and tell everyone what's going on. Yeah, because, you know, to carry the good news, but fuck, if things go wrong, yeah, the bad news goes around very quickly as well.
Yeah, that's another, to be fair, it's another good point. Like, we're obviously a lived experience recovery organisation, so everyone, you know, you go and stand on a stall for a Raw, and it's like standing there with a sign saying, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an addict. And I went and did an event in Canterbury. It was a Pride event, and then Canterbury's like 10 minutes from my hometown of Faversham, and then someone said to me, oh, there's a Pride in Faversham next month. You'll do that one, won't you? And I was like, this conversation in my head, like, I've gone to a different town and done it, but do I want to stand there with that sign in my own town? And yeah, I decided I was going to do it. The event got cancelled. Like, we didn't go to the event in the end anyway. Our store got cancelled. But yeah, where is the line? I think, you know, in a room full of other alcoholics, addicts, then I'll happily sit there and tell my story. And I know, you know, people will judge you in some way, won't they? But, you know, it's minimal, or you don't feel it as much when you're with people who've maybe got similar experiences. But Yeah, for me at the moment, and I'm not saying never, but at the moment, for me to put like it out there online would feel like a big thing. And yeah, I'm not ready at the moment, but maybe in the future we'll see.
I come from a point of like my self-care as well. I think my self-care is so important. Like how I feel, how I look after myself, how I look after my well-being, how I look after my health. And that's really so much important. You know, like my meditation and my prayer or my first thing in the morning, doing my readings and stuff, and having that self-care has been massive. And that self-belief in myself, and also I found that the more I've shared my story, the more that the people who I want in my life just seem to come into my life. So, like, I'm a massive believer in energy, and what energy you push out, I mean, you can get back. So, and if I'm angry all the time, and anger comes back, and I found that by sharing my story, and the self care that I've got in myself, like the right people have came back into my life, who when because I'll always show people the video before I put it out. Is this right? Is this all right? You're going to send out, and 9 times out of 10, it is. And putting the right people around me, the right friendship and all this stuff has been massive, absolutely massive. Because I've never had friends who don't want anything from me. They only want you to, I mean, get well, and they and that's been something else as well. Like having those sorts of friends who just want you as a friend. They don't want nothing from you, and that's a massive a foundation block under my feet, and it gives me the confidence as well to do what I'm doing. I just thought I'd add that in as well.
So the friendships are kind of real friendships in the sense that they want the best for you, as opposed to I'm friends with you, what can I get from you?
Yeah.
So how's that in the organizations you work for? Like, so an organization in general wants their pound of flesh for the salary that they give you.
Mm.
Does that make sense? But but in an organization where you're volunteering or you're doing this thing for out of the goodness of your heart or whatever, it's also something to kind of consider. And while you're thinking of that, Cal, I just want to build on what you said, is we used to go to corporates on wellness days. They'd have wellness days, and then we put up a table for mental health and substance abuse, and we'd sit there like fucking Norman no-mates, because people were kind of, whoa, because they thought if they came to the table, people would think that they had a problem, or if they came to the table, they would think that their family had a problem. So when trying to do the awareness stuff, there's so much stigma in that as well. Now, I guess it's like walking into an STD clinic where the signs are going like flashing STD, STD.
1 minute, I'll be back.
All right. So I tell you what, why don't we take a break now? Claire and Vicky, do you think there's a chance you'll be able to fix your computer? Or is it broken? So if you look down at the bottom left-hand corner where it says audio, do you see a little microphone? So Esme, Charlie, will take a 10-minute break, yeah? I'll try. Yeah. So in the bottom left-hand corner where it says audio, there should be a little up arrow. If you push that, it should say select microphone. Try selecting the other one. If there's an option there. And then unmute and let's try again.
Right, can you hear me?
Awe, hello, how are you? Okay, great. So we're going to take a 10-minute break now.
Right.
Okay,
Cheers,
that's good news. All right, well, we'll see you in 9 minutes, yeah?
Right, see you soon. Cheers, bye.
Thanks for sticking around, yeah? Good. See you in a bit, Cal. It's great to see you, Cal.
Yeah, thanks. I've been wanting to log on, but I've been getting ready to move and that, so I was quite, I was happy to be able to log on today. I've been looking forward to it. I enjoyed the training we done. And
Good.
Where are you at the moment? You in London or?
Yeah. I'm up in Battersea.
Nice.
So we're also going to have a meeting on a Tuesday from 10 till 12. So there'll be two classes that you might be able to attend.
Yeah, nice. I do. I'll chat with Clarissa tomorrow. No, what day is it today? Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow, because I normally go into her work and do the peer support on Tuesdays. So I'll see what she's got in mind.
Great stuff. All right, I'll see you in 8 minutes.
Nice.
Enjoy your cigarette. Right, the train arriving at platform Zoom is to carry on.
Yeah.
All right. So we lost 3 people. Okay. Oh. How's your coffee, Cal?
Yeah, so I moved on Monday and I went round to Asda and I bought some new mugs and I didn't realise until I got home how small they are. They're a tiny
Oh.
little one. I need to go back out and get some bigger ones, I think.
Okay. Great. All right. So Cal, you want to build the container?
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Who wants to check in first?
Well done. Good start. I'll check in. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of Cal for building the container by saying, okay, guys, who wants to start? Just kind of jumped in there and did it. So I'll check in with Joy and I'll tag Esme while Charlie finishes chewing his food and swallows.
Thanks, David. I'm checking in with Joy. I love this container. Thanks that I can be a part of it today. And are you ready? Tagging Charlie.
Thank you, Esme. I am checking in, still stuffing my face. The last 8 minutes I've been, and I am feeling really grateful to be here. I thank you, Esme.
Thanks. So yeah, I'll check in. Yeah, reflective. I just bumped into someone that hadn't seen since last year, right at the start of my recovery. So yeah, quick chat with him. It was nice. So,
Cool.
Claire and Vicky, if you can hear us, we're just checking in. Everyone's been, so it's your turn if your microphone's working.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm checking in all right. Just a bit tired. It's been a long day. But it's been, dare I say, quiet in Jackson Street today in Gateshead. So I think the day goes quicker when it's busy, but it's been long today.
I'm checking in good. I was a bit nervous coming on here, but seems all right now.
And
Is it
can
your
you tell
first time
me
here?
who's Claire and who's Vicky?
I'm Vicky.
I'm Claire.
Right, cool.
Good catch, Cal. Good catch. Cool. All right. So Vicky, is this your first class? Because Claire, we've seen you before, yes?
Yes, I was on last week.
Yeah.
I done a couple of months ago
Yeah. Okay.
with
All right.
Joanne. I was on with Joanne.
Yeah. Okay. And what's making you nervous?
I think it's just we're not been on for a while.
Okay. All right. Okay. And just Claire and Vicky, just let the rest of the container know what your roles are.
I'm a rehab support worker.
Okay.
I'm community coach.
Great. Okay, good. All right. So back to you, Cal.
Yeah, so good little session that first hour. Where do we want to take the container next?
Well done, Cal. Good. Good open question. It puts a question back on the container. So the container decides on the agenda. Great stuff. So Cal, sometimes you need to jump in if the
Okay.
silence is too long, and then take charge of the container and take it somewhere. So where would you like to take it, Cal?
Where would I like to take it? So I was just chatting at the front with a guy who I met when I first come into recovery at an AA meeting, and I hadn't seen him since, but he's sponsoring someone else who lives in one of the flats near me, and so I was just chatting with him. I think that there's this perception, and I know it's going to come into what Charlie was talking earlier about with the anonymity of like people within AA not having appreciation for the other forms of help that are available to people. And, you know, this guy is sponsoring someone who's accessing those other forms of help. And he said to me that he was really pleased that, you know, I'd found help elsewhere, even though he knows that I go to AA. And it's something that's come up a few times within our organization is, you know, the perception of people within the fellowship and there are sort of what they might think about other forms of help. I think I'm making sense. I just want to see what your guys' experience of that was.
It's a great topic, Cal. Great stuff.
Charlie, I see you come off mute.
Yeah, I was just I was trying to give other people a chance to come in. It's a really good question, and it's a question that I've came up against with my own recovery and a question I've had to deal with inside of AA as well. I find that the long-timers, or long-termers, that we call it, the old-timers, are very staunch AA, where they won't have anything said inside or outside about AA. And I feel like the newcomers, such as myself, who's been about me for a couple of years, are coming up against the old-timers, where I believe like a pie, I mean, a bit like a pie chart. AA doesn't have the whole of the pie chart. AA is just a part of the pie chart, and then there's all different. And then there's all different parts of the pie here on the chart. I believe that recovery is individualistic, and what fits for me may not fit from another person. Like for me, it was abstinence because I can't drink safely. Where some of my friends can drink safely but drink too much, so they would probably not be welcomed in AA as such, because I mean they would only be classed as big drinkers and not alcoholics. So, but yeah, I was actually booted out of my home group I was booted out of my home group because I started a podcast to share other people's hope, strength and hope, because I believe that social media and the age that we're at has a big part to play if we use it in a positive light. Just what I've said. But I've got a real problem with AA, even though I'm in AA. You know, I hope that answers your question a little bit, Cal.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's like you said, recovery is it's individual, isn't it? And I believe people should sort of dip their toe into everything and work out which parts work for them. Some will, some won't. In horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that AA doesn't want the name brought out into the public in that way, because before last year when I came into recovery, I definitely heard of AA and I definitely knew what it was and what they did. I don't know where I'd heard that, but I must have been on the TV or somewhere. So in a way, it kind of, you'd think it, again, I understand this, you know, attraction, not promotion, but for people to understand what they're doing is surely of benefit.
I completely agree, and I feel I've got a real problem with a yellow card, and what you see here, and when you see here, and leave it here, or something like that, because I've got a real problem. I'm aware of that, because AA is not a secret service, and if we're not telling people whom we are and being our authentic self, and how can the people who are alcoholics out there, who haven't really heard of Alcoholics Anonymous, how can they get into Alcoholics Anonymous? And I think the spiritual principle of anonymity, I get that if someone wants to be anonymous, I completely get that. But surely AA as a whole shouldn't be anonymous. And for me, we live in a different times. We don't live in 1935, is it, man, or something like that. We live in 2024, and we've got tools here to go out and share our experience, strength, and hope with those people who really need it. So yeah, I've got a real problem with AA, even though I'm in AA. I've got a real problem with the yellow cards. And I've got a real problem with share meetings as well.
So I'd like to come in here, if I may.
Yeah, please do.
Particularly around role clarity. And we work in lived experienced organizations where our lived experience is an asset to that organization.
Yeah.
And you're receiving this training so you can show up as a professional in that organization, which basically means you're getting paid because of your lived experience. Yeah. So I asked ChatGPT the question, now write the difference between a recovery coach and a 12-step sponsor. And the reason I asked ChatGPT this is I wanted to know what was in the AI world as opposed to what's in David Collins's world. I didn't say does David Collins think about 12-step versus a coach? What is the difference? So here's what came back. Yeah. Today I want to talk about the key differences between a recovery coach and a 12-step sponsor. Both play important roles in supporting individuals through addiction recovery, but they operate with distinct approaches and objectives. A 12-step sponsor is a peer mentor who has personal experience with the 12-step program, such as Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. Sponsors guide individuals through the 12 steps based on their own experience, strength, and hope. They offer support, encouragement, and accountability as someone who has walked the same path of recovery. Sponsors help their sponsees navigate the spiritual and personal journey outlined by the 12 steps, which are rooted in community, spiritual, and self-reflection. Now, do my esteemed colleagues here agree with me on that?
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The role of a sponsor is informal, voluntary, and rooted in the shared experience of recovery. Sponsorship is often considered a service within the 12-step fellowship, and it focuses heavily on personal growth through abstinence, self-honesty, and mutual aid within the fellowship. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Okay. On the other hand, a recovery coach is a trained professional who provides broader, more structured support in addiction recovery. Recovery coaching focuses on helping individuals set and achieve their own goals for sobriety and wellness, not necessarily within the framework of a 12-step program. A recovery coach works with clients to identify personal strengths, challenges, and goals related to recovery and provides guidance in developing life skills, managing relapse risks, and building a sustainable recovery plan. Do you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
While 12-step sponsors often emphasize the spiritual aspect of recovery and abstinence, a recovery coach takes a more holistic approach, Recovery coaches may assist with areas such as career planning, relationship management, God, I need some of that stuff, or health and wellness, helping individuals build a balanced, fulfilling life. They train to provide non-judgmental, forward-focused support and often have a more structured professional relationship with the client. Okay, I like that. They're trained to provide non-judgmental, forward-focused support and often have a more structured professional relationship with the client. The main distinction is that while sponsor is a peer mentor focused on guiding someone through a specific recovery program, a recovery coach is a professional who provides customized support across many aspects of life based on the client's goals and needs. So the client comes up with the agenda. Yep. Ultimately, both roles are valuable, but they serve different purposes. Sponsors are essentially in the fellowship model, offering spiritual guidance and shared experience, while recovery coaches help clients develop a broader goal-orientated plan for maintaining sobriety and improving the overall quality of life. So I was quite impressed by that. And ChatGPT returned it to me, because I've been doing this a long time and banging on about this for a long time, and now the world is kind of it's not just the David Collins show anymore. It's like in the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And our clients, patients, service users, people, whatever they are, they're going to be confronted with this challenge out there. Some people are going to say AA is the only way and you must keep it a secret and not tell anyone and be like that. And other people are going to really blossom in a 12-step fellowship and grow and do wonderfully. We are standing with multiple pathways to recovery. The recovery looks like is guided by the individual, and the organizations that we work for support multiple pathways to recovery. You guys are trained, or you're receiving a training to do that sort of stuff. Some of you have got lived experience with addiction. Some people have no lived experience with addiction, but they're still able to provide recovery coaching skills to whoever needs it. Does that make sense? Whereas in AA, or it's one addict helping another, or one alcoholic helping another, or one this or that, yeah? And there's no money given in the AA stuff. It's spiritual reward, where you guys here are paid to provide a professional service. I feel quite passionate. Cal, back to you, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just going to come in to you anyway, David, and just, I thought it was impressive. You know, the bit you reread where it said about forward thinking, didn't it? And I remember you speaking a lot, you know, we don't worship the wound. You know, what's done is done. Like, what do we do from this point forward?
Wound worshipping. Oh, yes, that's a wonderful thing, hey? Claire, Vicky, what's happening up in Gateshead? Has it gotten exciting there yet?
Still quiet.
Quiet at the minute.
Okay. Are either of you in the fellowships?
I'm in AA, but the meetings that I attend, people seem to be more open-minded in the ones that I go to about other paths to recovery. So I haven't really come across the issues that Cal was talking about.
Great.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I would say it's like, you know, maybe individual people or like what I would say is little cliques of people who are like that. There's other people like my sponsor it was very much right from the start. It's like if it's moving in a positive direction, then give it a go. Can't hurt, can it? And I think as well, so you know, I'll talk about them sort of cliques within AA, but I've seen other people who, you know, outside of AA who would be very against AA. You know, they've got maybe their experience of it, but as an organization, for us, if we're presenting the options to a client, I think it's so important that our own feelings about those options don't come across.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We actually hold a AA meeting in our building now as well.
It seems to do well as well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's well attended.
So that's great.
We
So-
don't hold it ourselves, sorry. So AA kind of use one of our rooms.
So it's like the clinic in Johannesburg. We have the posters of the 12 steps and the 12 traditions, and in the lounge there's the just for today, and I don't know, it works if you work it or something, and another board. Yep. But we're not a 12-step program, but we do have those icons there. Yeah. And the outside AA service or NA service under hospitals and institutions will come in there one night a week or something and deliver a meeting. And the reason we have those icons there, yeah, is so when a client leaves a clinic, if they chose to go to a 12-step meeting, they'd walk in and see those things and go, oh, I'm in the right place. But we are not a 12-step rehab where we get paid to take people through the steps. For me, that's offsides. Yeah. People need to pay for treatment, for being detoxed, for having a psychology taught to them, to having their trauma addressed, to creating a therapeutic environment. The 12-step stuff is there, and it's a different type of organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So also our day hub that we have here, do the 12 steps until more recently, don't they? So they've changed it where they get into, because they do 6 months. I think it's in the first 3 months they do the 12 steps.
Then is it?
And then in the final 3 months, they can choose to continue to do that or choose recovery to wellness. So they have the option to do either or.
Yeah.
And I guess that's exactly like what I was saying, isn't it? You're presenting the options and letting them pick themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's client focused. The client decides.
More of a person-centered approach, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I get charged with this topic, huh? Charlie?
Yeah, I get charged with this topic as well, talking about the solution. I absolutely love talking about the solution. And the person-centered approach, the holisticness, the alternativeness. I love all that, man, stuff. Up in Hartlepool and Teesside, AA is a wee bit different. We've got like Methodists and Baptists and Christians and all sorts. It's groups against groups. It's numbers against numbers. It's you know, it's a bit it's a bit divisive. The AA here is a bit divisive. You've got one AA meeting where we're talking about another AA meeting, and really, someone gave me these lines very early on, and it was grow in line with your recovery. And when that chap told me that, I thought, yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to stay out of all this, whatever this is, and focus on myself and what my individualistic recovery looks like, and how do I grow in line with that. So about the 10th month on, I joined the Big Book study because I found the solution in the Big Book. It wasn't because for 10 months I'd sat in share meetings and I didn't really know a great deal about AA. I knew about the 12 steps and 12 traditions. I never knew about the secret, and that's the Big Book. And as soon as I joined the Big Book study, and I changed my sponsor, and we started talking about the solution, and that's when my eyes started to open up. But it didn't just start to open up about AA; it started to open up about what's outside as well. I started to piece together like all sorts of different recoveries. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Actually, I'm still like pinpricking all these different recoveries, and I love talking about the solution. What is the solution? How do we find a way out? Whether it's through my spiritual man principles, or whether it's through START or SMART. To me, it's all about where we're at today. How are we doing today? How is Charlie doing? How is Carl and Claire and Vicky and Esme? That's what I'm interested in, because
You never said
the
David.
You
never said David.
And David, sorry.
No,
David, who? Sorry.
I'm triggered, mate. You left me out.
And
Don't
David,
come
who?
and mop up afterwards.
This is my 11th week. I'm taking over.
Good.
So that's really where I am. I love talking about the solution, whatever that is in your life. I really want to hear about it, because everybody is different, and I believe, like, if we sit in a problem, we can become a problem, and for me, I was becoming everybody else's problem man as well, because I was like constantly hearing about everybody's problems all the time, like 3-4 times a week. And I thought, oh man, I really need to get out of this and find out the bigger picture, man, and all this. And I believe that in my way, the recovery coaching, this is the bigger picture, man, as well. The systemic practitioner is just another link in this chain that I'm so interested in. So that's where I am.
How do you think Charlie's feeling?
Passionate. Obviously, feels strongly about it. You can tell.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's nice. It's exciting.
Okay. And how's his passion impacting the container?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's good. It's infectious in a way.
It is infectious. Yeah. So the academics will talk about contagions of recovery. Yeah, where you kind of it becomes infectious. So the LEROs, your organizations, need to be infectious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if we've got our sign up and some guy's sitting behind it looking like he's super down and his life's not going the way he wants, then it's not a very attractive proposition, is it?
Yeah.
You think, I might as well keep drinking.
Yeah. You've got to stop taking drugs.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is as well, like, I've never been as well as what I am now. I didn't know this life existed, and I live by this, like, if you don't know, you don't know until you know, and then if you know, there's no not knowing. And I love that, because I know now that I can live this life, that I can live the life and not just exist now, because I always thought my life was like a hamster wheel. I was like Groundhog Monday, and now I feel like every day I'm living this life that I never thought existed. And that's why I'm really passionate. I'm not just about recovery, I'm just about my life in general, because I'm someone who has had a proper transformation, a spiritual awakening. It's like, man, fucking hell, this was fucking life here. There's fucking life. And it's like, and I want to take everybody to the fucking well, but you know, most people like, you know, like, come on, come with me.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like eye-opening, isn't it? And like, you know, even there'll be tough days. I was on Monday, I moved, and I got on that Sunday evening, Monday morning, I was scared. You know, I've moved a lot, but never without a drink, and I got full of fear. But I knew I just got to get to the end of that day, and like I know how happy I can be, and I knew it was going to come back. So you can use the tools you learn, and once you know that life's out there, then I can't imagine, touch wood, turning back and wanting to live any other way.
Claire, Vicky, are you feeling as excited as Charlie and Cal? Do you want some of the drugs that they've taken?
We love some of the drugs. I think I need them to keep us awake.
Hey? You need it to keep you awake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just been one of them days, David.
I get it. I understand. I'm also feeling a bit tired. Esme, do you want to say something? No,
Nope.
doesn't. No,
Sorry. Sorry, wrong button. Yeah, talking about it, recovery, I supported a lot of people, Dave, you know that. And I was
A
just
lot of people.
still, yes, a lot of people. And everyone like built their own recovery. I also did, and people asked them to me like, what are you doing? But there's no right or wrong or anything. And I see a lot of people doing well with different recovery plans, or so I am myself double.
Is it echoing?
So
Yeah, is it better? Yes. So yeah, I loving it to see the passion with Charlie and Cole, like when they like all excited about speaking to recovery. But yeah, what I learned over the years is there's no right or wrong, or like for everyone the same path, and that's fine. And I love the thing you had out of ChatGPT, like the difference between 12 steps and just a recovery coach, but with the same results. So I love that as well.
Can I ask you a question, Esme?
Of course.
So you said that, well, I can't remember if you said it or David said you supported a lot of people with their recovery, but David was really quick to agree with that. Obviously, I know you got your film. How would you describe your experience of helping people?
Good question.
Yeah,
great.
Jesus. All right, mate. You've passed. You've got your certificate.
So I spent 10 weeks in South Africa in a clinic 3.5 years ago. And over there already, when I was doing better, I could be a great support for the Dutch clients over there. And there were a lot at that time. So when I came home, I really built my own recovery, and start following the online support from the clinic, and then hosting and everything, did all the coaching courses that there were, like with David. And in a way, people like to just get my support, and or they got from South Africa to just talk with the Dutch clients. So and that's also why I started with the idea for a documentary, because when people were listening to my story, my recovery, my journey, they were very impressed by that, and also about my honesty and that. So yeah, and that's what and there was a moment that I tried to run away from everything very hard, but universe just throw me the situations and the people in front of me just to help the next person. And that's what is driving me every day right now. with my documentary, with my story, and the support I can give to others. We also will go to schools, like bring the acknowledgement there. And yeah, that's, I really try to give back to society my second chance that I had when I came back from the clinic. So yeah.
Amazing. Impressive.
It is, huh? So it's still with you, Cal?
It's tough, this running the container, isn't it?
That's great authenticity. That's great. Just saying, fuck, this is tough. That's good. Well done.
So what have we covered? We've just come on to sort of helping people, haven't we, really? We've gone
Another
through...
great question. What have we covered? So whip around the room and find out. Good for you, Cal. Great.
Thanks. If we go, we're going to go clockwise round. So Charlie, you're first on my screen. What have we covered?
We have covered through AI. We have spoken about the 12 steps in recovery and coaching. I've spoken about the solution. I've missed about what Esme you was talking about in Holland there, because I had to go off. I had a phone call. And we've covered it. Claire's a bit tired because she's had a long day. Thanks.
So just on Esme, I asked her what her experience of helping people was, because I noticed that she spoke about it a little bit, and then David was really quick to agree that she'd helped a lot of people. So I was interested in what she'd been up to. And yeah, thank you, Esme, for sharing your experience. Claire and Vicky, what have we covered?
So we've also covered about men struggling in recovery to open up, and also how hard it is for being a mother in recovery and addiction.
To open up.
Yeah, thank you. Esme, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
So for me, it's always great to jump in containers like this and to meet new people, and to see, like we started also with Paula joining, and she was leaving earlier, and that's all fine, and that we start with the gender. And what really stands up with me is Charlie, him speaking, and also like it's really important to take care of yourself. And that's what I also take out of today's container, like, oh yeah, So I'm aware that I'm running a little bit too hard, and I'm not sleeping very well. And the whole day I was thinking I forgot about something, and I figured it out when we start this container. And that was that I really wanted to join playing wheelchair basketball today again, to see. And I totally forgot, like, and that's a kind of self-care that's important for me, to also put out some frustration, everything, but it's fine. Like now I'm joining this. So that's what I really keep out of today's container, like self-care. That's the base of like showing up for other people.
And how can you make sure you don't miss wheelchair basketball next week?
That's a very good question. Because yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know, because sometimes life is fooling with me, or universe. So then I'm very busy with a bit other things. But it's not in a wheelchair basketball playing, but just like do something for myself, and make some time for myself, so I just can reflect. For me, it's always like, if it's a mad period, then I just need time with myself to reflect and to get my thoughts together. And yeah, I will make time for that next coming days.
Did you want to make a commitment to the group for next week?
No.
When you're going to do it?
No. But really, because if I'm like planning to take a day of rest this weekend, it will not happen, and my life will Well, yeah, but okay, it's a whole week, right? Yeah, but Dave, help me out.
I'm not gonna force you, but it's rumbling around in there now, isn't it?
No, but you are funny.
Jesus, Esme, we've created a monster here.
Yeah, jeez, Dave. I don't dare to show up next week.
Yeah. The first class is right in there.
But he's doing great, David.
Good.
Right?
Cheers, guys. Yeah, I think for me, what we covered, what I took from the first half of the session was that, you know, both sexes are stigmatized. Maybe the consequences of opening up are different for both sexes as well, which is something I hadn't really considered before. You know, the men have maybe got the shame attached with being vulnerable, whereas, you know, the women are viewed differently because of, you know, expectation of them as a mother, etc. So it's, you know, the same problem but different consequences and different reasons why it continues to go on. And then from the second part, my sort of thing to pick out would be that, you know, our job as organizations is to present all the options and let the client have the choice and make the decisions about their own recovery. I think it's really important, and I have to remember that I can't control how other people feel about fellowship or other different types of recovery. I can only do my thing, what works for me, and present that to whoever I might come across. David, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to add that the one thing that I always carry anxiety around these containers. It's like, oh fuck, what are we going to talk about today? Where are we going to go? And I'm always kind of blown away that my job is to kind of create the container and to trust and see the right thing will emerge. The agenda comes in, and what's difficult about it is people generally want to know what class are we at, what are we going to study, what are the outcomes, and how, and so there's a magic in these kind of containers, like build the container and allow the story or the learning to emerge. And it's quite a difficult space for me to hold, especially when there's silence. I suddenly think, oh, fuck, okay, now what? Where are we going now? Everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. Oh, I am an idiot. Why did I do this? Why don't I go get a proper job? Fuck this recovery shit. I want to go fix computers. Yeah. So yeah. And Cal, I'm really for your first time being here, I really just kind of want to appreciate your balls for kind of just going, oh fuck, all right, I'll hold the container, and just holding that space. And I would never dare to take on Esme the way you did. You did fantastically. Yeah, no, that was a bit of a joke, but yeah, and Esme, I just really want to, it's great to have you here because you really do a lot of work in isolation as well. It feels like you're there for lots and lots and lots of people. You hold lots and lots and lots of different stories, and you keep those to yourself. Yep, and I just wanted to kind of acknowledge the burden that you have with that. So I'm really pleased that this class has been helpful for you as well.
But that's what I shared. Like I try to run away from everything hard, and you know that. And I'm very pleased that you know that I had a lot of conversation over the last months with Paula again, and about what I'm doing and about the documentary and everything. And I learned so much in 3.5 years, and I grow so much. So also to keep myself safe in like showing up for everyone, and also in this field, but also put in my boundary. Like
that they not own me, or I'm not like available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And what really comes up for me, what my importance value is, like that's to be there for the people I love. So my family, my friends, and that is really my priority. And now I find a way to just do that and also give the rest back to what's left to that. So I'm very happy that I walked this process also with you, David, over the last few years, and grow and learn. And yeah, so it is a pleasure to join containers like this and like be open and pick up something out of it.
Great. And Claire and Vicky, I'm so pleased we were able to fix your microphone. Yeah. How's this class been for you? Vicky, it's great to have you back here. I hope you're
I've enjoyed it, I have. Thank you.
I hope your anxiety's settled.
It has a bit.
Good, good. And I think it's very normal when the place is quiet, it can impact the staff. Like I know at the clinic when it's quiet, the staff kind of start to struggle. But when it's busy and there's full of the madness and the chaos and everything, they're on point. So you both said that it was a bit quiet for you today. The day goes slowly.
Yeah.
So it's great to have you both here today.
It was good to be here.
Yeah. What are you taking away? Let's start to wrap today up. What's your learning today, Vicky?
Well, just like how thingy for the women and men and that, how we're thinking both sides.
Great. And how are you checking out?
Good. Good. I've enjoyed it.
Great stuff. Claire?
Taking a lot from today, really. All the conversations that we've had about the different topics have been really interesting. However, we couldn't obviously talk at the beginning, but we were listening. And I'm checking out, feeling positive. Looking forward to the next one.
Cool. Charlie, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I am checking out, excited and passionate as ever. I'm really impressed with this container, and I love that we can throw people in the deep end and they just come up swimming, like Cal has done. I've been so impressed by you, Cal, holding the space and holding the container. And I just love that. I just love to see people shine, and it goes to everybody apart from David. So thanks very much.
Esme, do you want to go next? We're finishing a bit early today, but I'm a bit fatigued, so
I can see. I'm checking out with gratitude and with joy and with love, like always. Yes.
Cool. Cal?
Yeah, I'm happy I logged on today. I'm always impressed hearing people's stories, what they're doing, all over the country or all over the world. Like the experience that just comes together for a couple of hours for a Zoom meeting is, I find it so interesting.
It is interesting, huh? And the common denominator is recovery, and the pain and stigma that people have felt and that they're trying to recover from. And like any kind of illness, it doesn't matter what your demographic is or where you come from, the feelings are still the same with it. So it's something that's kind of so stigmatized like this. It's yeah, I think it's great we have these conversations to try and come up with solutions. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we're finishing a bit early. What homework are we giving Esme, Cal?
She's gotta look after herself. A bit of self-care. Take some time.
Thanks. How did you check out, Dave?
Yeah, no, I check out. I'm pleased. And it's quite nice that we're having more lived experienced organizations coming together for this, so different communities can talk and learn from each other. I think that's a good thing. It's been wonderful having you here, Esme, as well, bringing in the Dutchies. Okay, so yeah. I hope it stays like that even when the football season starts. All right. Okay, does anyone want to say anything before we close? I've made the recording. Yep, it's unlisted, but are you guys okay with the recording?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. So we record for two reasons. One, for evidence of the work. And the second reason is so we can learn and see how things change and to do things better. And so when the clever people come and want to close us down and say, who do you think you are? We can say, well, this is who we are. This is what we got. Make sense? It's not me, it's ChatGPT. All right, everyone. See you later.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.